Here's your wrestling news for May 7th, 2022, and your headlines for today include Big E shares unfortunate news on his recovery from neck injury, Lacey Evans' arrival to Smackdown and WWE's possible plans, AEW blocking Bryan Danielson from independent booking, multiple AEW stars considering signing with WWE, the inevitability of Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey, fantastic main event on AEW Rampage, is there a possible issue with Hook? WWE gets creative with Smackdown commentary team this week, Candice Lerae reportedly gone from WWE, Jonah finished with Impact Wrestling, WWE SmackDown star's finishing move gets a new name and it's a reference to a released talent. I couldn't just lock myself in my bedroom. Persia Pirotta explains why signing with WWE was scary for her, and more. We are kicking off today with Big E as the former WWE champion continues to heal from a broken neck he suffered in March. Not long after the March 11th SmackDown where the injury happened, Big E confirmed that he will not need neck surgery, which dramatically reduces the amount of time he'll need off to recover. Unfortunately, Big E's recovery has hit a snag as in a tweet, he said his C1 vertebrae isn't healing as well as doctors would have hoped, and he's going to be in his neck brace for an additional 4 to 6 weeks. Big E added that he'll remain in the brace to hopefully avoid needing neck fusion surgery, which would cause his time away from the ring to be much longer, if not lead to retirement. These are still early days for Big E's recovery, and so far, his journey back has been going reasonably well, and we're still sending our best to the New Day star as he seeks to overcome this most recent setback. Over to SmackDown now as Lacey Evans made her return this week after 15 months away, but that's if you don't include the last month of vignettes that seemed to have gotten cornier each time. While we will acknowledge that live audiences have cheered Evans' heartfelt story, the repetition of these segments have become tiring, with some fans already vocally stating their displeasure. After years as the sassy Southern Belle, the former Marine is using her real-life story in her character, and it's become a bit polarizing, and WWE seems to know that all too well. The live audience last night seemed to eat it up, perhaps because of the patriotic nature of her character, and the idea that you can't boo someone who served their country. On last night's show, Evans requested a proper and respectful standing ovation, something a babyface never asks for, as it appears WWE isn't fully committed to her being a fully fledged babyface. Evans' transition into a face role was a big character change for her, but she could just as easily revert back to being the sassy Southern Belle, and WWE may be ready to backtrack on Evans already. Now, for many wrestlers, one of the big reasons to sign with AEW is that the company allows for their talent to work in other companies, the exact opposite of WWE's policy. At April 30th at the Defy show, Jon Moxley faced Tom Lawlor in a fantastic bout and teased bringing Bryan Danielson with him the next time he appears for the promotion, but that may be a promise the former AEW World Champion can't keep. In this week's Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer talked about the possibility of Bryan Danielson appearing for Defy, saying that AEW has made it clear that they don't want him at the indie promotion yet. As a personality, he's major league. Moxley said that Lawlor was a friend of the Blackpool Combat Club and that he considers Defy a friend of AEW. Then he asked the crowd if they like tag team wrestling. He said if you scream loud enough, the next time he comes, he may bring Bryan Danielson with him. The noise was deafening for that. The basic situation is that Danielson has expressed interest in working for Defy. However, Defy had been told that AEW wants Danielson's first Seattle match to be when they debut in the market. However, there is no date for that. That's why I was surprised they didn't run Seattle in June, because they rarely come to the West Coast. Tony Khan has been open to talent working select independent dates, except in this instance, and with no sign of AEW hitting the Pacific Northwest, Defy fans will have to keep waiting for the American Dragon. Since AEW has been around, plenty of WWE superstars have found their way to Tony Khan's company, including Adam Cole, Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson, and Christian Cage. So far, only one significant name, Cody Rhodes, has made the jump from AEW to WWE, but he may be the first of many to make the big leap. In the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, it's reported that several AEW stars have been considering signing with WWE, believing that they'll be paid more by the sports entertainment juggernaut. Previously, there were talents that were interested in coming from AEW to WWE that were making main roster salaries that were told by friends in AEW to stay put until 2024, when the company would be able to budget far more for talent. Even if AEW gets $90 million per year, it should be very profitable going forward and able to bid for a lot of talent whose deals are up and, as important, retain its own top talent because WWE would bid for some of them. It also should be noted that a lot of top AEW talent is under 200 pounds, and those guys are not likely to do well in the WWE system. Ultimately, the question for AEW stars is if they can hang on until 2024 before they get a new deal, or is the temptation of a fat WWE contract too great? If they can't hold out, then WWE may soon have an influx of AEW talent, and between the belief in a higher paycheck and seeing how Cody has been treated so far, it may be a matter of time before others make the jump. This week's Smackdown opened with Ronda Rousey confronting Charlotte Flair, and it was for the best that this opened the show rather than closed it. This feud has become tiresome, and it was perhaps the only positive that this didn't close Smackdown, as the last thing it needed was for a lifeless crowd after 2 hours. Another positive in this angle is that it will hopefully end with this Sunday's I Quit match. One thing for sure is that the bout is likely to exceed the WrestleMania 38 match, and all indication is that Rousey will win the SmackDown Women's Championship this Saturday. WWE did a good job of keeping them apart this week to make it a little less predictable for the show on Sunday, but after 6 months, expect Flair to finally drop the gold and say, "I quit." When Pete Dunne was called up to SmackDown, he was given the name Butch, which didn't sit well with fans of the Bruiserweight. For weeks though, Fight Night have been asking "Where's Butch?" as the former United Kingdom champion seemingly vanished, and this week we got our answer. The storyline of his disappearance has been nothing short of hilarious and entertaining, and thanks to Butch's return, Fight Night got the better of the New Day last night. For those wondering, it turns out that Butch was under the ring all along, and while he's yet to speak, the story has been highly entertaining, and it's exactly what SmackDown has needed. Over to AEW Rampage next, as the show was headlined by a fantastic bout between Jay Lethal and Takeshita. Takeshita recently competed on Dark and continues to impress, coming close to beating Lethal in what would have been a major upset. Perhaps if not for the interference of Sanjay Dutt, Takeshita would have won the match, but Dutt's distracting the ref gave Lethal time to recover, and the former ROH World Champion scored the win. A post-match beatdown on Takeshita led to Best Friends and Orange Cassidy coming out, and while they too were taken out, Cassidy briefly got on the apron to face off with Satnam Singh. As if this wasn't wild enough, Samoa Joe's music hit and he came out but was restrained by security in what was a truly great main event and closing segment. Rampage also saw Hook continue his winning streak, this time defeating JD Drake, as it was once again made clear that AEW sees Hook as a star for the future. Hitting an impressive high-angle back suplex on his much heavier opponent, Hook certainly has the talent to be a major player, but that begs the question as to whether a partnership with Danhausen is the right way to go. Hookhausen clearly have their fans, but putting Hook in a comedy tag team may not be the best idea at this stage of his career. That's nothing against Danhausen, he's fantastic, but Hook is on the way to superstardom, and being relegated to the tag division will likely hinder his journey. Back to SmackDown, as this was the go-home show before WrestleMania Backlash, and WWE wanted to shake things up a bit with their commentary. On Twitter, fans at the show in Uniondale, New York said that during the commercial break, the commentary went on the house mics, meaning they could hear what Michael Cole and Pat McAfee were saying during the Banks-Baszler match. The voices stopped playing in the speakers as soon as the show returned from break, and with WWE known to experiment with new tech to improve production, perhaps this will become a regular part of WWE TV during commercial breaks. Last December, Johnny Gargano left WWE after his contract with NXT 2.0 came to an end. Shortly after, it was reported that Gargano's wife, Candice LeRae's contract was set to expire in the spring of 2022, but there had been talks of WWE extending her contract due to her pregnancy. At one point, it was expected that she would remain with WWE until early 2023, but that isn't the case anymore. Yesterday, WWE moved LeRae's profile on their website to the alumni page, and when Fightful Select asked, they confirmed her contract has expired. Lerae joined WWE in mid-2017 and announced her pregnancy in August last year, with her final match being at the July 6, 2021 Great American Bash special. It's been reported that WWE has no ill will to Gargano or Lerae, and that they're always welcome back to the company, but for now, Candice, like her husband, is a free agent. Over to Impact next as Jonah joined the promotion in 2021, shortly after his release from WWE. The former Bronson Reed was reportedly promised a huge spot in NXT, but was later told that he wasn't seen as a name for the new NXT 2.0, and now his time with Impact has also come to an end. On Friday, Jonah took to Twitter to confirm his departure just a day after losing to PCO in a Monsters Ball match, which headlined the most recent Impact on Access TV. With Jonah gone and the Inspiration on hiatus, Impact has lost some serious stars over the past week, and now the former NXT North American champion must forge his own path outside the promotion. More from Smackdown next as Shayna Baszler was in action this week, defeating Sasha Banks with some help from Natalya, but the Submission Magician's post-match attack raised some eyebrows. After the bell, Baszler attacked the boss and hit her stomp to the elbow, which Pat McAfee called the Future Endeavor Stomp. This is of course in reference to WWE releasing talent, as all superstars cut are wished the best of luck in their future endeavors, to the point where the phrase has become a meme with wrestling fans. As one of WWE's most decorated female performers and one half of the reigning WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, we can't see Banks being future endeavored, but this move and McAfee's call certainly turned some heads this week. And we're ending today with Persia Pirotta, who was released from WWE last week and has opened up about her time in the company. Pirotta debuted in NXT in 2021, but in an interview with Fightful, explained that she signed in 2019 while back home in her native Australia. She explained that this weird limbo period meant she was technically a WWE employee who was still working indie shows, and said she found the time incredibly difficult. Pirotta said for this period, she only worked with names she absolutely trusted, knowing that just one bad injury could derail her WWE plans, and revealed that she wasn't even paid by WWE during this time. Ultimately, Pirotta would make the move to the US, but only lasted a relatively short time with the company, and she's now able to prove herself back on the independent scene. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.